G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is an Instigating plasma caster. We're just starting off with a 1-star, and then we'll work our way up from there, although Instigating with this thing might be good, and we'll discuss that in a second. But this is one of the new Wastelander heavy guns, and it's easy to get. Just complete the Wastelander's questline, don't have to side with anyone in particular to grab this, because it's available from the blokes at Vault 79, and it costs you 750 for the plans, 200 and 150 depending on what other auxiliary parts you want for this thing. So yeah, we're doing 76 and 76 ballistic and energy damage respectively. Haha, very funny. But this thing is different. It's a little bit different than all of the other heavy guns in the game because it's sitting in a spot where you could possibly make it work with having a luck-based heavy gunner. And that does call back to the original Fallouts pretty nicely, where you wanted high luck and agility, didn't matter too much about strength. But in Fallout 76, fast forward a few years, we're going to need every point of strength that we can to actually boost this thing's damage. So I'm of two minds when it comes to using this thing. Either you're going to use it outside or inside of power armor, and you can leave stabilized on no matter what. But if you want to swap that out for gunsmith, if you've got 11 intelligence, then go right ahead. But if you weren't in something like power armor, you'd go for barbarian. But if you were, you'd go for blocker. 1 to 3 of each, depending on whether you're in or outside of power armor. What we'll do is we'll start off outside of power armor, so we'll chuck on barbarian, 1 rank of blocker, just for extra little bit of damage resistance when it comes to being shot at and being punched. Doesn't really matter having a perk like bullet shed because you're not going to be holding down the trigger and firing it constantly, so having barbarian proc 100% of the time just because you've got the perk equipped is of a sound decision. Now, going over to agility over here, as soon as my game wants me to go there, you could possibly chuck sneak on to get sneak criticals with this. That'll obviously synergize extremely well with the Instigating legendary effect, boosting that multiplier even further when you are sneaking. But if you're inside power armor, go for dodgy because you kind of want to use your AP to make this thing workable in VATS. But if you weren't going in power armor, chuck on evasive because you can use that. You get that extra little bit of defense, and you don't have to worry about your action points being sucked up by someone firing at you with an automatic rifle. Now, for the luck part of it, obviously we want bloody mess, but if you're going for outside of power armor, probably want to chuck serendipity on. That's always not a terrible perk to have. But if you are inside power armor, go for 1 gun army. Now, this being an energy weapon may not even work with that, but it's nice to have anyway. A cheap stagger here and there will do well. But yep, that's what we're kind of looking like outside of power armor. We'll change that up depending on how the weapon performs. So we're doing 140, 140, and if we compare this to another weapon that I consider to be high damage, low rate of fire, funny, yeah right, Bethesda 500 fire rate. Well, potentially, we'll get to this weapon a little bit later, but yeah, this thing is out damaging it by quite a large margin when you add the 2 energy and ballistic damages together, so that's pretty good. So here we are outside of power armor, and this is the game plan here. These radiation, that's gonna go up, and that'll allow me to boost my damage through adrenal reaction and nerd rage when we get down to it. But mostly it is going to be boosting my special stats because I've got unyielding armor, and I'm thinking if I boost my perception, agility, and luck as high as possible, I might be able to exponentially increase the damage output by, basically making me do more criticals, which is nice. And obviously adrenal reaction, nerd rage all synergizes really well with the Instigating effect because the higher you can get this number going, the higher the multipliers will be. That's pretty basic maths, but it's worth thinking about. Okay, nerd rage has been achieved, and now we're doing 241 and 241. That's some good damage, especially when you get the double multipliers onto it. Okay, so here we are outside of I wait eagerly for triggered nerds in the comments, and this is what we look like with a plasma caster. Now, if you're using it without power armor, there's some clipping going on, but we'll just ignore that. And yeah, Tinkerbell using a heavy gun outside of power armor. What a time to be alive. Anyway, so here's my stats. 21 perception, pretty good. Agility at 31, good for boosting sneak. Luck at 27, important luck that is at 27, because if we're going to be using this thing outside of power armor, like the Skyrim guards say, the best offense is a good defense. There we go. 2600 damage. What a whiffing going on game, and I'm not liking it, but we'll keep on going. Maybe we just not use VATS. This thing doesn't appear to be as accurate as I'd like it to be, and probably because I'm used to using VATS with higher rate of fire weapons. Although we one-shotted that guy, so that's good. And yeah, I normally go for you know, DPS overall, but if we can end these guys in one shot, it's good. And yeah, there's the sights, by the way. You've probably fucking seen YouTube videos of cunts using this already. So yeah, that's what it looks like. They're not great. You've still got the reference of where you're aiming. Come on. Come on. There it goes. Scalp that turret finally. You probably, yeah, you've got the reference of where you're aiming anyway, so that kind of just gets in your way. But now we've got adrenaline and we're doing 328 and 328. So far, we're doing okay. Things have been kind of tame out here. They usually are. But once we get inside, that's when shit kind of kicks up. And we're hitting for over 1,000 at this point. So I feel like we're doing okay, especially when we do nail the VAT shots. When this thing misses, it penalizes you heavily because, well, I'm going to press the trigger as fast as I possibly can, and you'll notice the fire rate. That ain't great. The Gatling gun's laughing at how slow this thing is. Okay, so the problem with this setup for this type of weapon is that, sure, you can one-shot everything, but weapons with better sustained DPS, such as like a bloodied fire rate fixer, bloodied fire rate minigun, LMG, for instance, they're going to go a lot better against the Queen because, obviously, well, you can't just one-shot her. That's why that's why I take such offense to people boasting about how many things they can one-shot. It's like, no, it's not some huge achievement, alright? Settle down. Anyone can one-shot a super mutant warlord. It's how fast you can stack the DPS to kill the queens. That's what matters right there. Or rather, how good you can aim to kill other players with it. That guy's not standing in the corner. Now, what you can do with the legendary guys is let them mutate and then let the health go all the way up, and then you can go ahead and get him again and get that instigating effect and take him out. Let's see what he got me. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, okay. Thanks for that 76. Now, you might notice how the aligned sniper barrel here has the pokey stick. You don't use the plasma stabilizers, I guess, to poke stuff with, which is kind of sad. I wouldn't mind skewering a super mutant with this thing and then just, you know, holding down the, or pressing the trigger and watching them melt from the inside out. That would be satisfying. That's a minigun. That's a little bit scary, but yeah, as you can tell, it's not actually going too bad, even for just a 1-star thing. We're kind of pushing it to the absolute maximum here. The reload animation is the same as the Gatling plasma. Makes slightly different sounds, but it's all very familiar. We do have a crippled arm right now, so we have to kind of stand still whilst we're taking our shots, otherwise our spread will be a little bit too much. Also, if you do have a thing that... Double drop. Nice. If you do have an instigating one and you manage to kill him in one shot, you get the goo piles, you get a nuclear waste out of it, which is good for crafting radium rifles because they aren't spitting out mods anytime soon. Nice one. And I'd make fun of VATS for missing easy shots. Okay, arms fixed. Let's go and kill some tools. Okay, so I feel like we'll have a decent chance against these ghouls. We just gotta make sure we don't miss a shot. 20 in the magazine for 20 kills seems rather doable, especially when they're sitting still. Now, people have actually noticed that the behavior from the ghouls has changed since Wastelanders. They seem a lot more lazy now, a lot more passive. You kind of have to go and aggro them to actually have them do much, so that's kind of interesting. Now, I usually have a bitch and a moan about how slow the plasma projectiles are, but I'm not having too much of a problem with these ones, so I'm quite happy to say that the projectile speed ain't terrible on this, which is, you know, one of the primary concerns when you're using plasma guns, because, well, if you can't shoot targets at range, you're putting yourself in more danger when you are engaging targets. But yeah, that's pretty good, right? And another thing that, although this probably isn't going to be a queen-killing top performer, the fact of the matter is that Bethesda have given us an option here. A new option, a high damage, low rate of fire option, where it used to be just the Gatling gun, but now there's an energy variant to it. And yeah, it's like a new gun that does different things, and I'm going to talk shit about the Gauss minigun here because it tries to do the LMG's job and, you know, fails spectacularly. Although two-shot is an absolutely terrible roll to have on a queen test because of just how it works and how it divides the damage between the two projectiles and how lower damage just gets eaten up. The lower damaging projectiles get eaten up by Barbara's health. But, you know, if I happen to find a bloodied one these days... But yeah, we'll have to see how it goes then. But yeah, I'm actually liking this. It feels new. It feels like they've added something into the game here, which, you know, it changes it slightly. Even though you can get probably better results out of the Gatling gun because it runs on 5mm, which are a dime a dozen. It is hit scan too, but I feel like this thing is more precise and, you know, getting that classic Fallout feel. We're done here. Let's go. Alrighty, so now we're inside power armor. We're just going to tank it up, and they're stabilized, making this thing extremely accurate. This is Settler Vigilante power armor. It's got a bunch of tools all over it, and I don't mean ghouls, I mean actual hand tools. So my stats have gone back down, and the build looks something like this. Let's send it and see if this thing can get us out of any particularly bad position. Although, with power armor like this, I feel like we'll be just fine. And we're already hitting these guys for 900, despite not doing anything different, really. So, yeah, we're not going to be spamming criticals as much. I'm just probably going to be free aiming this. And it seems super possible, mind you, with the... die, ghoul. With the stabilized accuracy here. Also, you notice when you fire projectiles in the air, they'll have that effect to it. So if you see that during a Scorched Beast Queen fight, you'll know why. So we'll keep on going. We've also got lock and load on now, so we'll be able to load this thing up a little bit faster. So yeah, I don't think we'll die at all, unless some damage over time hits us, but we should be fine. Let's execute sneak tactics against Swan over here. Big old level 95 Swan. That'll do it. Alright, so I guess the crackheads, I don't even remember, the Blood Eagles, the local crackheads, they're around these days. They're to simulate when players used to... Wow, why are they running so slow? That's weird. They're seriously running super slow. Get away from me, tanky bastard. Yeah, these guys are here to simulate other players getting in here and me having to PvP them. That one's legendary, good on him. That's pretty good. What did you... It's just some crap. Alright, this thing's reloaded. I don't see much else using that, so we'll just run in. There she is. Back at a caution. We've got a critical ready. Or maybe we don't. Heavens forbid you put the camera underwater in that. Yeah, nice. Probably should have switched to third person for that, I think. And just like ADATs go for the legs, you'll stop them nice and easily. Let's move on to some big old bats. Alrighty, this will be a true test of this thing's range performance and my aim. See if I've gotten used to the projectile travel time yet. It's still quick. Just putting that out there again. It's got a quick bullet, so that's a problem. I'm gonna have to move out of the piss radius here. There we go, and we'll see what we can do. Who was that? We'll just use these guys to gather yet more adrenaline, and if you're going to land, that would be splendid. Now, this one's legendary, so we'll make use of this as much as we can. Let him regenerate. And we'll get some use out of it, not too bad. This one's kind of sitting in one spot. Don't even bother firing whilst they're screaming at you. You can't bloody see a thing. Alright, focus. Not helpful. Really not helpful. Alright, looks like there's a learning curve to this thing, which, yay, weapon depth. I'm lacking this. It's not all just to shoot stuff with explosive to do damage, like legacy weapons, so it's already a leg up. Stop doing that. You're gonna give everyone fucking seizures. Speaking of seizures, look at those vertibirds just having a seizure. Fallout 76 is just being Fallout 76 right now. Alright. I couldn't hear that one because my sound card needs to be reinstalled or something. But yeah, just ignore them. That's all fine. We'll expect this from now. Here are Wendigo. No midget Wendigos, Wendigo Colossi only. And he's actually knocked me under health, under 10% health. So that's the first time. See, all these Scorched Beasts couldn't do it because I had Fireproof. Took a melee hit, even though I did have Blocker on too. Can't remember if Wendigos give you damage over time. Big mistake. Alright, that's them done. And if those Vertibots were just... It's like they're teabagging in the air. I don't know exactly what they're teabagging, but they're just happy. They must have, like, killed something. Maybe on a distant server far away. Some idiot player's just been killed whilst trying to loot the nuclear keycards from the Vertibot things. You never know. Anyways, we'll try to pull this one out. Doesn't look like it's happening, so we'll just go ahead and shoot these guys and we'll call it a video there. Don't exactly know why I'm still in danger. Probably that guy, right? There we go. He had no way of getting down there, so he was screwed. There we go. So, there you have it. It's the Gatling... Not Gatling. It's a Plasma. The Plasma Caster. And, yep, it's actually really good. Firstly, you've got a heavy gun that does a new thing. Although its role is similar to the Gatling gun, this thing is obviously higher damage and lower rate of fire, so it's really doubling down on that low DPS, high damage model there. And it's an energy weapon too, which is cool. And honestly, way worth the gold for it. If you've got a heavy gunner build, you probably got this already, but definitely grab it. It's good fun. Alright, I'm out of here. Catch you later.